Well, Rafael, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me, sir. Again, my name is Rafael Dominguez. I currently hold the position of school climate advocate over at Jefferson High School.
Awesome. And how did you become an educator?
For as long as I can remember, I've always considered myself a youth advocate. So I've always wanted to work with kids in some capacity, and I've always been highly favored, and a lot of people have always seen something in me and pushed for me. So following their guidance and their advice, I'd follow that. I've been with the district for 23 years. My employee number is 75. So that should tell you
Yo.
something. Yeah.
Whoa, mine's 9-3.
Yeah. I've been with them for the district for a while now. But yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And when you say highly favored, explain that. I want to hear what you
Um,
have to say about highly favored.
I've always said that people have always seen something in me, and people have always pushed me. And when I asked them that, and it has come up several times during my journey in education, and people continue to say that you're highly favored.
Mm,
Um, So there's obviously something that I have that people see in me, and that's my goal, and that's my approach with what I do with my kids. Is always giving back, paying it forward. I see that in some of the kids that they need that extra push, that extra guidance, and I'm just paying it forward. So that's what I mean by highly favored.
yeah, and what exactly is it though that people see in you? Like what is it that you would say?
Um, Time and time again, they say that I bring people together, that I always bring a positive attitude, positive energy, and more so than anything, I give voices to those that can be heard. I
Yeah.
shine light in those that can't be seen. I give them a platform for those that are not as courageous enough to stand on their own 2 feet, and I provide that for them.
And where did that stem from when back when you were young? Like where did that
Well,
stem from in high school, middle school?
well, I came to the states when I was 11. I
Okay.
migrated from Mexico, but it comes from being one of them, not being seen, not being heard, not knowing the language,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
But these people that are still my mentors till now, they gave me that opportunity. So I know the importance about having someone to believe in you blindly and giving you that chance, that opportunity, and that's why I do what I do. Being able to
Yeah.
do that.
And when you started with the district, where did you start?
Oh, oh my
What
God!
capacity? What capacity?
Oh, I started as a coach with LA's Best. Um,
Oh,
through
nice.
the LA 84 Foundation. I was working 3 hours a week
Yeah.
as a coach. And I till now, I'm going to be 47 this year. Until now, I have contact with some of them students at over at Hillside Elementary in Highland Park.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes. So
good.
that's
You
how
know,
it started.
that's kind of like how I started off. I worked as a playground supervisor, but not through LAUSD. I worked at a Lutheran school as
Okay.
a playground supervisor, and they would call me Mr. John. That was my name, Mr. John. And that's where I started, and that's where I learned that I want to work with students. I want to help these kids. These kids need somebody to guide them and help them in this school setting. And I felt like I saw things that other teachers on that campus couldn't see, you know. And
100%.
so yeah, and so that's how I got into working with kids. But it did start as a playground supervisor, after school programs, summer camp, that kind of stuff.
Yep. That was my upbringing, my start.
Yeah, and then that okay. So you do LA's Best, and then what's next after LA's
So
Best?
through LA's Best, that's where I started. I ended up moving up in the ranks. I went from a part time worker to a full time staff to a site coordinator to a TPS. Um, and along the way, I just continued to foster that sense of like giving back, and it just
Mm-hmm.
opened up a lot of doors for me. I continued my journey in education in the field. I ended up working for the high school unit within Beyond the Bell, where I was also managing and running the federal grants, the ones that are in danger now,
Mm-hmm.
for several schools. And again, that was just my way of getting in and my way of giving back and continuing to give back.
Something special about giving back. That idea of as you give, so you receive. And I feel that so much myself. Where you give your time, you give your energy, you give your wisdom, you give all that you have, whatever it is that you have, you give it away. You just give it away. And it always comes back. It always returns. It is you get blessed in some way, some fashion. Um, and it sounds like that's kind of what was happening to you early on at LA's
God.
best.
Oh my God, it opened up a lot of doors for me, and I was allowed to I was blessed to know a lot of people and make that relationship connect. That, and those are the people that actually advocated for me when this position opened up. They were the ones that called me. A huge shout out to Miss Mary Helen Torres. She works for operations for local district East now. Mr. Enrique Perez, also with operations. They were the ones
Hmm.
that reached out to me like, hey, like this position opened up. It was tailored to you with what you do. And they advocated for me. And I did. I reached out. I made it. And I started at Solis Learning Academy with a good friend of mine, Mr. Alejandro Ropesa. He's the assistant principal there. Then I went to my alma mater. I went to Roosevelt with Dr. Gertner, my good friend Frankie Zelaya. And then I was voluntold to go over to
Yeah.
Jefferson to go work with Mr. Oropesa again. So that's where I'm at. And it's just about building that relationship, building that rapport with people that see your work, that see your value, and just doing that for our students, being able
and
to
w-
give
ca-
back.
can you explain your position, your current position?
So I'm a school climate advocate. Um, again, the position itself was very controversial at the beginning. For those of you guys that don't know, the position came about when they removed school police from campuses,
Mhm.
and they created this position. I have a lot of friends that are actually in the force, and it was a hot topic between us at the beginning. But I feel like this position was long overdue. I have the ability to work both sides. I'm not admin and I'm not a teacher, but I am able to create some meaningful relationship with our students, because what I've learned is a lot of our kids don't trust. They don't trust another adult in life because they were going to be like, well, the turnover is so huge within the district that you'll be here today and gone tomorrow. Um, but I've been able to do that and create that's the stability, whatever that they need, to create that relationship. So how I see it, I'm just there to create culture, to give a voice those that can be heard, shine light at those that can be seen, and again a platform for them they can stand on. So,
Yeah, I remember when they cut school police.
uh
I was working as a dean, and I remember they had cut the school police, and I was like, what was going on? Why would you cut school police? It was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And
West.
we had a really good school police officer on campus. He was really good. He was good with the kids. Um, but it was such a big deal, and I was like, man, these schools are gonna fall apart. Schools are gonna fall apart without school police. But then
Uh-huh.
they open up the positions you're talking about, and it sounds like you have a good handle of what's going on. Is there a dean on the school on campus as well?
I actually share an office because we're under construction over at Jefferson and we're making it work. So I share an office with the dean. At the beginning of the year, I've been there now 2 years. And at the beginning, I was always, oh, you're the other guy. You're the other dean, right? Because
Yeah,
they lump me
yeah.
in. Um, but now it's been great. I think that the success that I've had at Jeff I owe it to Mr. Garcia, our dean, our principal, Miss Pewich, Mr. Oropesa, like I said, our assistant principal, my really good friend, because they've allowed us to do what we do. Um, and through that relationship building that I'm talking about, trusting and building that rapport with the kids, we're able to hold them accountable in a less punitive way, and create that, because no matter where I run into one of our students, I always address them as sir, no sir, ma'am, no ma'am. And they're like, oh, you do that because you can't remember my name. And it's like, that's just how I was raised. Now, full circle, 2 years later, those kids that were sophomores, now they graduated, they came to shake my hand and they're like, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Nobody has ever treated me the way you did here at Jeff. And I was like, whoa, I was taken back. And it's just those simple acts of just addressing them for who they are and seeing them for who they are has gone a long way.
And how would you say you treat them that they appreciate it so much?
I think consistency. Um, whether if it was good or bad, my approach was always the same. And I told them, you know what, I'm not here to disrespect you. My whole thing is to guide you along this journey. Because when you graduate, when you leave this gate, reality is gonna come slap you in the face.
That's
So
right.
I'm just here to teach you and guide you that there's a certain way. My with my kids, I started two clubs. The club I started at Roosevelt was the Breakfast Club, and I started another club at Jefferson called Forging the Future for our young men. And I tell them, and their thing is always, "Oh, Rafa or Mr. Dominguez, you always have a guy for everything." And it's just like because it just it goes back to how I treat people. I treat people with respect. And I always tell the students, people will always forget what you say. People will never forget how you make them feel.
Hmm.
If you treat people right, they will continue to pick up the phone with whatever it is that you need. So I think consistency and being there on a day to day basis, because the day you miss, whether if it's for a doctor's appointment, my wife, my kids, whatnot, hey, mister, why weren't you here? What
Yeah.
happened? And it's that's when you start seeing it's like, okay, I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. They know that I'm going to be here. Right.
Yeah.
This reality is that a lot of our kids, we are that seat filler. We are that person that they're missing at home, whether if it's grandpa, mom, dad, whatever. We are that person, and we have to own that. And I think that that's so beautiful.
That's
If
a good
we all
point.
understood that, if that's who we are, I think we'll do a lot better.
That's a very good point. There's a lot of educators out there that believe that they shouldn't own it, that they're not that other person, that that's just another, that's their parents' job, that their job is just to teach the curriculum, do the job, go home. And they don't say that, oh, I'm the other person. I'm the other person that they're almost like their pseudo parent, like their parent.
Uh-huh.
And you said if we just owned it, things would be better, right? If we just own that, we just owned it. Like, yeah, I'm here. I'm the third parent here. There's a mom, there's a dad, and then it's me. And I'm gonna make sure that you're successful.
Uh-huh.
Ownership of that, I feel, is important. But again, some educators don't feel that way. What would you say to an educator that feels that way? That feels they don't have to own that.
And that's okay. And we're not. I'm a firm believer that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But in
Yeah.
the long run, your work will be a lot easier when you build that trust in the report with that child, because you start seeing them as that, as the whole. If and when it's come to reprimand them, when it's time to redirect them, you're able to just do that by a look or pointing the finger. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Why? Because you take the time to get to know them for who
That's
they
right.
are. Um, in the mornings before when I was in the corner, because now I have Breakfast Club and Fortune the Future. We start at 7:30 in the mornings. Breakfast Club is as from 7:30 to 8:23 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Fortune the Future was Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:20 to 8:23. So it's an hour every day in the morning. But before that, I was always at the corners. At the corners in the mornings as the kids are walking in, I greet everyone, no matter what, whether if it's they reply or they ignore me, whatnot. It's always good morning, how are you? And I'm always asking like, oh, how's your mom, how's your dad, just to get to know them a little bit more. I point out their shoes, their hat, their shirt, whatnot.
That's right.
And then once they start opening up, and then some students like they've shared, oh, my mom's sick, whatnot. So I let a couple of days go by, maybe a week, and then a week later when I see them, hey, how's your mom, how is she doing, I heard you. And then you can start seeing, and then like clicking, it's like, hey, this guy cares, this guy cares. So we start building that report, and I just add on that. And what I would tell teachers is, if you take the time to get to know your kids at the beginning of the year, and I know it's hard because we all have a boss and we all have to follow some guidelines, right? But if we took the time to genuinely give everyone a voice, I promise you that second semester and then even years after, like I said, I'm 47 this years old, and I still have contact with their kids. Whether, yeah, I was coach, I was Dominguez, Rafa. For some of my kids, I'm pops or I'm dad, and I still keep in touch with them now. So I was telling them, take the time to get to know your kids. Take some time to build that report, and I promise you, it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like that's the magic bullet right there. Where at the very beginning of the year, if you take time and you genuinely say good morning, and you genuinely ask them about their family, and then you share about yourself, and you say, yeah, you know what, I'm married, I have kids as well, this is my son, he goes to this college, my other son works at this place
Uh-huh.
right here, and you know, last night I ate chicken and whatever, you know, I had a carne asada, whatever, you know, you're just sharing your life with them, and then they start to share back with you, and then you
Uh-huh.
start to build these connections, and you build those relationships. And you know, some people think that when you build relationships, you're a pushover teacher or you're a pushover educator because you built these relationships, and you're not. No, you build those relationships, and just like a good father or a good mother or a good grandfather or a good grandmother, you know, you love them, but you hold high standards.
Uh-huh.
You love them, but you hold, like, if I'm a dad, I love my kids, I love them, but the minute they cross the line or the minute I see them going in the wrong direction, because I love them, I'm gonna be like, nope, get back over here. You know,
Uh-huh.
you can't go over there. You gotta stay this way. It's the same thing in the classroom where you have this connection with the student. You love them, and you make sure that when they start to get out of line, you just, like you said, and it's a look, it's a point. It's like, hey, come on. Like, it could be just that, like
Uh-huh.
something very simple, because you have that relationship with them,
Uh-huh.
right? And that, I feel, is the key. And if all educators did it, like you're saying, if all educators at the beginning of the school year made those connections, then the rest of the school year, teaching the curriculum, all of that stuff, testing in May, it'll be easier. It'll be
Uh-huh.
much easier. You know.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. I just, it just goes back to that. Like, reality is that our kids don't trust, and they have every right not to, right?
that's right.
Um, Understanding that some of our kids slept on the floor. They had a bad night the night before, and there's six people in the home, and some of them are sleeping in the living room. If we really understood and took the time why this kid came grumpy and he's probably cussing you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't get to know him at the beginning, you will take that personal, because reality is we're all humans. If somebody comes in pissed off and starts cussing us out, depending on how the relationship we have with the student, we're going to take it differently.
That's
And
right.
understanding that, again, seeing our kids for who they are and understanding their life home, their home, their life at home, and the struggles that they're going through is like, it just makes it easier. Makes it easier. I know that me, prior coming to Jeff, was a difficult school. I was at Roosevelt, my alma mater, and when I was asked to transfer it over, everybody that I knew was like, "Are you crazy? Why are you
Mm,
leaving? Why are you going there? It's a tough school. It's not the same,
yeah,
different demographic. Like, why are you doing this?" Um, but one of my mentors, big shout out to this guy because I think I stand here because of him, Raymond Duarte. Duarte. Um, he's always, God's gonna put you where you're needed the most. And sure enough, being at Jeff for the last 2 years, I, I think I was meant to be there because I've been able to help transform that school
that's
in
good.
2 years span, and be able to build that rapport with the students, give, like I said, give a voice to those that weren't able to speak in the past, and shine a light on those kids that needed that spotlight. Um, we were picked up by PBS. We have our own documentary for our boys group, the Forging the
Awesome.
Future.
It's awesome.
I was highlighted this year by the district. I was a USD champion because of the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club started from two students at Roosevelt High School, and I took the idea from the movie of how different people from different pockets of the school come together, even though it was for detention. But at
Hmm.
the end of the movie, how they came together, they built a rapport, they built a family, right? Same thing. So yeah,
That's
that's
good.
me. I'm sorry, I went off topic.
No, no, it's fine. Share. I love this. Is what it's just like I said. It's just a conversation, and you share whatever you want to share.
Thank you.
Um, when it comes to mindset, all right. When it comes to your mindset, when you work with students with difficult behavior, when you work with students who are going through things, what type of mindset should you have when you're working with these type of students?
An open mind, and understanding that we grew up differently. Um, I've realized also that a lot of our kids, they don't hold themselves accountable. There's not really accountability. I
Yeah.
know growing up, when I went to Belvedere or even Roosevelt, when the principal or anybody said, "Oh, I'm going to call my mom," I was afraid. I was afraid because I knew there was consequences, right? Nowadays with our kids, um, I think that you tell them, "Oh, I'm going to call your mom." They're like, "Go ahead, here, I'll dial for you." Like,
Yeah.
there's not that fear, so you have to think of other ways to build that and to be able to hold them accountable and redirect them, right? So you were talking about that earlier, how being a dad, right? And I talk about consistency at the beginning with a lot of these kids. I tell them, you know what, I love you, and it was weird because they were like, they were like, take a step back, and they were like, what is he doing? And I would tell them, it's like, hey man, I want what's best for you, and genuinely I want what's best for you. And again, at the beginning, it was hard, but I have no problem doing it. I have no problem saying it because I mean it. I mean,
Yeah.
I work at a high school. I'm not in high school. I always tell
Yeah.
them, I genuinely want what's best for you. And again, it has worked because being consistent and being able to redirect them. But as much as you tell them what they're doing wrong, you're there to cuddle them, and you're there to give them a hug, or they'll tell them, there, you know what, I'm here for you. I love you, and I want what's best for you. So yeah, that's what I think I would say.
And they don't people kids don't hear that too often.
No.
Like, I love you, I want what's best for you. We live in a hard world, man. We live in
Yep.
a hard world, and Jefferson is a hard place and a hard neighborhood. That's not the easiest place to grow up in that area. And to hear somebody say, and especially coming from a man,
Uh-huh.
to hear another man say, I want the best for you, I love you, I care for you, I hope that you're successful. Like, just these words from another man, you know it's like if young men would be dying to hear something like that.
Uh-huh.
Like, they probably never hear anything like that from another man.
Uh-huh.
And so when you say that, I feel like that and you mean it, it's so impactful, and it's so needed. It's like
Uh-huh.
water in the desert.
100%. I can't wait till once the documentary is done. But like the transformation from the group of men that I had, it was amazing to see and to be a part of, because like I said at the beginning, was like, I love you, and they were like, what's this
Yeah.
guy's agenda? But at the end, when we had our banquet, I had parents, I had some of my students. We all got up and shared a testimonial, because like I said, there's so much beauty in someone's story. So I give everyone an opportunity to speak, and some of us cried, parents cried, students cried. I cry most of the time because I'm a chillon.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I tell the students all the time, this is who I am. I'm not showing you this side of me because I'm weak. I'm showing you this because I'm strong. Why? Because I'm strong in who I am and what I am. Um, but them themselves at the end of the year, they will tell each other, look at each other, and be like, "I love you. I'm here for you. I support you." And to see that from the initial "I love you," and they were like, they had taken a step back and look at me sideways, to now them themselves saying it with each other, means a lot. Also, parents telling me like, thank you for creating the space. You saved my son." That was like, wow, it's working.
Yeah.
And also understanding that I can't save everyone, but if I provide the space to for whenever they're ready, I think it means that much more too.
Yeah, and you're talking about how when you say I love you, and they're like, goes back to what you said earlier about how they don't trust anybody.
I trust.
There's these walls. There's these walls, and you don't trust. And I was the same way growing up. Like, I didn't trust anybody. There were walls, man. You can't penetrate these walls. Like, you know. And so it's the same with these students, where there's these walls, and it's layered year after year, because some of these students have been difficult students year after year, and nobody understands their situation, and nobody takes the time to get to know them, and nobody takes the time to talk to them.
Uh-huh.
And all the educators in the building see them as the problem child, the kid that always
Uh-huh.
gets in trouble, the kid that doesn't listen, the kid that doesn't turn in his homework, the kid that's always late. And you start to internalize that thing. Well, I'm the kid that's always late, I'm always the kid that's always in trouble, I'm always the kid that gets sent to the. And it's layer after layer, the wall gets thicker and higher and thicker and higher. And the only way that you can penetrate that, I feel, is with love. With
Uh-huh.
I love you. Hey, look, I really care about you. I want the best for you. And you really mean it. And then you're consistent, like you were saying. You're
Uh-huh.
consistent with it. You don't stop. You just keep just hammering away, hammering away. And all of a sudden that wall starts to fall, because that you build that rapport, you build that trust.
Uh-huh.
and they're able to open up a little bit, and they're able to be like, okay, this guy really cares about me. And like it's the only way to penetrate that wall is through love, through
Mhm.
consistency. You can't penetrate that wall with detention, or you can't penetrate that wall with suspension. You can't penetrate that wall with like, whatever. Just go sit in the corner. Go over there. You mess around too much. Go over there. You don't penetrate the wall that way. So it's just breaking down that wall, breaking down those walls because they don't trust
And I think
at all.
understanding, I go back to understanding and owning the gift and the opportunity that we all have here as educators, of the opportunity that we have to shape young men's lives or women's lives. Like it's so powerful. And I think that if we embraced it, and if we ran with it, I think we would all be a lot more successful with our troubled kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. If we
it's
embraced
just
it,
mhm,
and just like there's so many things going on in the world right now. There's just so many things going on. All these things are happening. All these budget cuts, wars. Just all kinds of stuff that are going on. The immigration thing. Um, it's like a time where we all need each other. Like everybody needs each other. Like the school community, we need each other. Parents
yeah.
need the teachers. Teachers need the parents. Admin need the, the same issue that like a student comes into the classroom and they're worried about, that their mother might be taken away by ICE.
Mhm.
There's teachers in the building that are first generation that have mothers that might be taken away by ICE. So
Absolutely.
we all have the same. We're all going through all of this together, and I think that we need to stick together and find a way to make it work because it is scary times right now.
It's very scary. I've always said that it takes a village. It takes a village in so many ways to do the work that we do.
Yeah,
I am one to be like, again, I always have a guy, right? But I'm one to be like, I don't have the answer, but I can find somebody that does. And if we all also let go of our pride and understand that, you know what, I can't do something, but I know somebody else that can. Because again, it takes a village. I am blessed. I'm fortunate. I'm married to a principal, so shout out to my wife. But when I have a tough time at home and I want to see the admin perspective, I always come home and I'm always asking her, like, what would you do? How would you do it? And she's always telling me what not to do. I mean, with the right thing to do. And it's
she
always
don't want
against
you.
what I want.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be
Yeah.
careful.
But it's always good to come home and to be able to do that, to bounce ideas off of her, and to understand. And again, it takes a village. It just takes a village to be able to do this work. And the more that we're all on the same page, I think the easier it'll be. Hence why I think Jefferson has through the transformation that it has gone through, because the admin bought in, and we're all moving forward. I
Yeah,
had some of my students again said, since you guys have been here, you guys change it. I feel safe walking to class. I
yeah,
can only imagine what that felt like for a 10th grader for 7 minutes of the period from class to class. Like you were afraid to walk from class to class. Like you don't know what was going to happen. I don't know what that was like. Again, like I said, that was me come before I got into Jeff. We came into Jeff. But to hear their stories and to feel like, no, I'm comfortable now. Like I feel safe. Like you changed this. You changed the culture. You guys did this. It feels so good because it wasn't just me. It was everyone and everyone buying in. But it goes back to like consistency, being
mm,
there, like reinforcing, like, yo, we want what's best for you. I'm a firm believer, and I have always said this. And through the men's group, we were able to go to a leadership conference, and I took my boys. And one of the speakers says, I'm gonna steal it. I can't remember his name, but he said, "I didn't come here to compete. I came here to complete. I'm only a piece of this beautiful puzzle,
that's
and I
right.
want to complete it." And that's how I see it. And again, it just takes all of us to do it.
Yeah, I always feel like we're just a gardener. We're just a gardener who just garden. We water plants. We water seeds. That's all we do. And the next gardener is gonna water as well. And we might not see the growth. Like this student might be with me and for a whole year, and I might not even. I could barely see that thing growing, but I'm gonna water. I'm
Mhm.
gonna water. I'm gonna make sure this plant gets enough sunlight and water and love and care. And then the next gardener comes and does the exact same thing.
Mhm.
And eventually down the line, you get taken care of a few years, you're gonna start to grow. And that's
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it is.
It's so
That's that.
beautiful to hear, and even to get letters or messages on Instagram. Like, right, I've always shared the story. Like, again, I'm turning 47, but on my what was it? I think it was on my birthday or something. A memorable moment. Oh, when I posted the thing on my Instagram about being an LAUSD champion, messages from my students and DMs, and they're like, "Thank you." And this is like almost 20 years later, or
Yeah,
15 years later, right?
yeah,
Like you said, it goes back to, you might not see it right there and then, but then when they go on to do their life, have their families, have their kids, and it's like, thank you. I I'm here because of you.
yeah.
Because you
Let's bring
believed
it.
in me. You gave me
Let's bring
that
it back to.
opportunity.
That's awesome. Let's bring it back to safety. You had mentioned about safety and how about how you helped create a safe environment for students, and students were like,
Yes.
for those 7 minutes of passing period, I felt like something was going to happen. I'm glad you changed the culture, the environment here at the school.
Yes.
How important is creating a safe environment?
It's huge. It's huge. Again, it goes back to them themselves feel safe at school, right? They talked about how a lot of them, they didn't want to even go to school because they didn't know if they were going to be safe,
Yeah,
right? So them stepping foot on campus was with that fear. So it just, again, they felt like not only they were students, but they were a part of the school, and they bought in, and whatever idea that we pitched to them, they were all for it. So safety played a huge part in the success of what the transformation of Jefferson, because the students not only felt safe but also the staff.
yeah,
Yeah, like
that's
and
good.
it was a huge accomplishment. Like I said, not just by me, but the admin buying buying in, and all collectively agreeing that this is what we needed to move forward.
Yeah, and how did you guys go about creating that safe environment? How did you change that culture? I know
Um,
you said everybody bought in, but besides everybody buying in, like what were there set
so
rules and procedures? Were
we
there
did.
like, well,
So the
yes,
admin,
assemblies?
Mr. Oropesa, he came in. He was dealing with discipline. Again, I shared an office with the dean. So it was consistent. Now we were holding people accountable. Even the kids themselves would say, "Oh, well, we would had fights and nothing would happen. The student will be there next year, the next day." So it was like a collective team effort, and we would hold people accountable, not only parents, students, and it was more so like a tough approach with like an arm around their shoulders and be like, "Yo, we're here.
Yeah,
Like, we want something different for you guys." I would always share about how people would see Jeff, and I talked about my personal story. I was like, I left my home school, I left my alma mater to come here to work. I need you to understand that I want to be here. A lot of people don't want to be here, but I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to work here. So again, that's just started to click for the students. So like, man, these people want to be here. Like, they want what's best for us. They genuinely want to see us grow and succeed. And I think they started to see that.
yeah. I think that's important. You had mentioned ownership. I hear ownership, like you
Yeah.
own it. Like you got
Mm-hmm.
to own this that you work at this school, that this is where you're at, and you're here for a reason.
Uh-huh.
And then the students see that, because the students could see fake too. The
Oh,
students could see fake a mile. They could see, smell fake. They could see it. Man, it is so easy for the students to spot fake, and then students don't appreciate fake.
mm-hmm.
And when you come at them fake, they're gonna act a certain way toward you, and then that's where the classroom management issues start to happen. But yeah, they could see fake.
What else? Yeah, they do. Like I've always said, like consistency, right? Because they'll test you. They'll test you, and they'll throw jabs. They'll cuss at you, whatever. And if you could still like treat them the same way, they'll be like, okay, like he probably means it. Let me test him
Hmm.
a little bit more, and then
Hmm.
you're still the same. They're like, okay, so he's good, I guess, right? Like we passed, and they trust you. But yeah, just just being consistent and owning the opportunity and the blessing that we have to work with them. It's I always tell them all the time, like I learn more from you than you guys can possibly ever learn from me. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. I'm still growing, and I'm always thanking them. You talked about how I make it personal. I bring my wife and my kids to events at the school. I have, and you walk in my side of the office, and I have my whole wall is plastered with my kids, pictures of former students, letters, notes, whatnot, because I want them to take the opportunity to get to know who I am. Like, you don't come just into my office when you get in trouble. If you're gonna come into my office to get in trouble, we're gonna have a conversation, and in that conversation, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to get to know me,
Yeah.
to build that rapport, and at the same time, I get to know you. So, so yeah,
Yeah, that's important. I think the safe we talk about safety and owning things, and um I feel like in order to create safe environments in schools, I feel like that we need to have set rules and procedures. I'm talking about the classroom issues here. Like in the classroom, there has to be rules and procedures, and it has to be reinforced and that kind of deal. There has to be school wide rules that are enforced, and assemblies that reinforce some of these rules. But I think that one of the key things is you can't be afraid to enforce rules and procedures. Sometimes people are afraid to put their foot down, or they're afraid to say something, or they ignore it. They turn a blind eye. They look the other way because they're afraid to encounter some sort of
pushback.
friction. Yeah.
But it goes back again. It goes back, and I see that with a lot of our new teachers. It's because they didn't take the time to get to really know their students at the beginning of the year.
Hmm.
Because then themselves, they see the report online, and they start reading about these kids, and we already going this to with this perspective of who this child is. And when they come into our office, we see, oh, like, oh, so their history, right? So we already start labeling these kids or putting them in these boxes. And I think that our teachers do that, especially our new teachers. But if we took the time to build that report and understand them, I think it'd just be a lot easier. Because again, at school, is if something was going down and there was a specific student, there would be like 31, 31, come in. And I would get there, and the student would be like yelling, cussing, whatnot. And I would get there, and he'll look at me. He was like, "Sorry, sir." And I was like, let's go take a walk." And everybody would be like, "What's going on?" Like, but then again, people are like, "How did you do it?" Again, it's just like, get to know them, ask
Hmm.
them, see how they're doing. It's
Hmm.
not about yelling. It's not about suspension. Again, some of our students do need the timeout. They need to go home for the day. When they come
Hmm.
back, we'll have a reentry meeting with parent and student
Yeah.
and talk and give them
Yep.
a voice. But a lot of it was that, again, building that report and doing that, and genuinely asking the students, how are you doing it, and meaning
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what's
meaning
wrong?
it.
Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Did you not have breakfast? Did you not sleep? Like, what's going on? Because I would tell the students all the time, like, this ain't you. Like, you don't
Hmm.
treat me this way. Like, you're cussing at so and so, and then you're going off. You're like throwing your book or whatever. But they walk in, and then like right away, like, they change, right? And our teachers will be like, "Oh, you should come to my classroom more often." And it's like, you see them every day. I see them when they get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, like, really embrace that and own that, and be like, no, you have an amazing opportunity to really change lives. But yes, going back to discipline, we have that. We have assemblies. We reinforce that. We see that. But how I see it is, every time every chance that I get to talk to a student that comes into the office, again, because I share office with the dean, so I'm always there. And at the beginning, I was always, oh, you're the other dean.
Hmm.
Uh, I have the opportunity to build that rapport with the students. So every bad opportunity, I embrace it to make it an opportunity to make a connection with our students.
That's good. And how do you personally grow yourself?
Oh my
Because
God.
it sounds like you have a lot of wisdom. It came from somewhere.
Through life, through
Life.
experiences. I myself was one of those students that didn't have a voice. I didn't speak the language when I came to the States. Um, but through hard work and dedication, and through people that believed in me, I've never take it for granted. I always tell the people around me, like, I'm always grateful for who I am and what I am, but I never forget who gave me these opportunities. And I always tell my students, and I share with the students, it's like, just remember to say thank you, and be appreciative of what you have and who you have it because of why you have.
Mm.
So, why? I think just life, understanding of what it felt like to not be seen, right? Understanding of how it felt like to be the outsider, understanding what it felt like to struggle. I share my stories with the students. I slept in the floor till I was a senior year in high school. My parents
Well,
and I lived in a garage. My mom and my dad in a twin bed. I slept in the floor, and my sister slept in bunk beds. But I was rich because I had a family. I'm
right,
big on family. I love my family. My family is my biggest blessings, my support system. Um, so yeah, so I share my story as much as I can with the students because I want them to make the connection. Like, yo, this guy made it. He struggles. He just like me. So so yeah, that's, I guess, not necessarily wisdom, but just life and making that
life.
connection to what I want to go, to what I want to do and what I'm doing. So
Mm,
every opportunity that I get to make my past, my history, my journey, and connect it to what's going on now with the students, I always say it. And you talked about being real again. Every time I talk and I have an opportunity to talk to my students, I am me. I embrace who I am, and if it means
yeah,
that I have to cry, then I cry because I want them to see that this is generally who I am, and that I
that's
want
good
to make
stuff.
a difference and see them grow.
That's good stuff. Now, we start school in August, and all this crazy stuff is going on, right? You got all these ice raids, and you got budget cuts, and they might cut after school programs. They might cut positions like your positions, school social workers, all these mental health programs. And all these mental health programs are needed because these are the people that build those relationships. These are the people that build the rapport with the students, that schools desperately need because not everybody could do what you're doing and what a school social worker could do and what, whatever, all these mental health programs. We're starting school of fear of budget cuts and all these things. How do we move forward in August?
Um,
What do we do?
Personally, you continue to move forward because us sitting here and expecting the worst, I think we're gonna hold ourselves back. Um, every day is an opportunity to learn, to grow. I'm not gonna lie, I am afraid of what's to come, but if I sit here and worry about that, I'm gonna lose an opportunity to make a connection with the student. I'm gonna lose an opportunity to build a rapport with someone else and continue to make a difference. Um, yes, have it in the back of your mind, but you can also use that to build that rapport with that student. My students at Jefferson, a lot of them are newcomers. Um, so understanding them, um, why some of them are late or whatnot, to be just continue to build that rapport. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and see what's gonna happen or try to answer it because that's a way above my pay rate. But if it happens, it was meant to be. I'm always said like my buddy said, like I am where I needed where I'm needed the most, and if that was the plan, then so be it. But I'm not gonna change of who I am because of what's around me, because I've embraced of the opportunity of what I have in front of me,
Yeah.
and that's the kids.
And see, I felt like you answered the question. It was like just continue to do what you know is the right thing to do. Continue to move forward, continue to build the relationships, continue to be the strong person in the room,
Mhm.
continue to do those kind of things. And whatever happens, gonna happen. Whatever is meant to be is gonna be. And I'm just gonna continue to be the same person, be consistent like I'm supposed to be, the way God intended me to be.
Correct.
You answered the question.
Oh, thank you, thank you,
I
sir.
thought no problem. Well, can you talk a little bit about your documentary? You keep
Sure.
mentioning it. Yeah.
So so I'm going to talk about Breakfast Club first. Breakfast Club came about the idea of creating a platform for everybody to come together. Again, I graduated from Roosevelt in 1997, hence my employee 75.
Yeah.
um, but um, but I went in there. My good friend, assistant principal Frankie Salaya, he told me he knew I was coming into Roosevelt. He's like, I challenge you. He goes, first couple of weeks, just come in and observe, and then from there start implementing what you want. So I did. So for me, school spirit was is huge. School culture was huge because when I went to high school, it was big, right? It was
Hmm.
huge. There was buy-in. There was like different cliques, but yet we all came together. And coming into Roosevelt, I saw that everyone was divided. Everybody was on their own. So that's when I created the Breakfast Club. So um, I single-handedly picked two young ladies from two different aspects of the school, two different groups from the school. And I just told them, I was like, I need you to trust me and just come in. And back then, when we started the program, we were actually meeting at 6:45, and the girls
Wow.
came in on campus.
Wow.
And then once we started, and I pitched them the idea of what I wanted to do, build that report, bring school unity, bring up the school spirit. I told them, okay, so now it's your job to invite someone else. Now, don't invite yourself. I mean, your friend, because you want to hang out. Like, invite someone that's going to be a reflection of you. And they took ownership. They invited two. So from two went to four, four went to eight, and it grew so big that we ended up at about 56 students.
Wow.
Um, the whole idea was to change the culture at Roosevelt, and we did. It got so big that we made it into a nonprofit. Um, so we not only impacted the Roosevelt community, but we impacted the Ball Heights community. I was blessed and fortunate to also connect with six different individuals at three different schools to continue the program. So what started at Roosevelt was now Roosevelt, Legacy, and Jefferson. Shout out to the people at Legacy, Miss America, Miss oh my god, I forget it, Mr. Caesar, and then oh my god, I forget the other one. I'm so sorry. And then over at Roosevelt, Jackie, Josh, and Angie, they all ran Breakfast Club when I was running it over at Jefferson. Um, so that's our Breakfast Club. We grew it, we made it. We've been open for 3 years. We've been able to bless over 20 something students with $30,000 in scholarships.
Wow.
Just 3 years that we've been open. So coming into Jeff, again brought Breakfast Club over. So, but I was able to identify that a lot of our African American students weren't they weren't giving a voice, especially our young men. So we have about 47 students that are black or identified as black. So I knew the importance of having a male role model because again, I had that myself, right? Growing up, I knew that. So collectively, myself and a couple of students, we created this space called Forging the Future. And again, it went from 4 students to it grew. We took off. We ended up, I think, at 16. Um, but to see them grow and to become what it is, the district took notice. PBS, they followed us throughout all of last year. Some of our students have had speaking opportunities. We got to meet Dr. Lonnie Johnson, the inventor of the Super Soaker. He was also a NASA
Wow.
engineer. Um, my one of my president Xavier Weichi, he got to speak for the National Signing Day for LAUSD. I was also asked to be part of the SEL Symposium event that they had at ELAC. I brought my students, I brought my boys, and I brought the kids from Breakfast Club. But yeah, like I just think it's a testament of my journey in education and my journey as this youth advocate is to giving back. You talk about being a gardener and watering and planting seeds. I've always considered myself to like Johnny Appleseeds, right? Just planting
Right.
seeds.
That's right.
And I tell my kids like, I'm only doing this because someone believed in me. I'm only doing this because someone believed in me blindly and thought I was meant for greatness. And that person is Raymond Duarte, right? I love that guy. I'm actually gonna be at his house tomorrow, but I tell them like what I'm doing for you was a gift and I'm just paying it forward. Like your job now is to do this for someone else. And I think that's the goal. Like to plant enough seeds about just believing in someone blindly because they were meant for better, bigger and better things and greatness. And if we
Yeah.
do that and genuinely mean it without anything expecting anything in return, I mean, it's gonna happen and things are gonna change.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
that's my documentary. Like I said, they followed us the transformation of how it came from just a couple of students to what it is now. But the club Forging the Future came about also Breakfast Club and where we're at in the journey of creating an environment at the schools where everyone has the voice, where you're welcome, safe, and seen. We have a motto. We take it from Ubuntu. I am who we are. I am because we are, and we are because I am. And then at the end, I added, "Juntos somos familia." Because those of you guys that know me, or people that know me, I'm big on family. Because I've always said, I'm sorry, but when shit hits the fan, who's gonna be there for you? It's your
Yeah.
family, and family is not always blood. You create a family. Family is
Mhm.
always created, and if you mean it and you mean it and you create it, you'll have those relationships with these students that will become family and that will be part of your family. And if we all understand that we all are seed fillers in their lives, it what better gift can you have than to be that person for someone?
That's awesome.
So
That's really good. That's really good. I don't know how to follow up on that.
no, I mean
um,
it's just who I am, sir. So like I
that's
said,
good
I've been
stuff.
following your work. I've been following you from afar and admiring you, and it just takes a village and understanding that we're all doing our job, this journey. We're all doing it our way. But I think collectively, if we impact our kids from the elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school level, we'll have a better generation than what we had. Because at the end
That's
of the day,
right.
it's what we want to do. We want them to be better than what we were, and we wanted to be able to provide more things than what we had.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mr. Dominguez, Mr. Rafael Dominguez, I greatly appreciate you on the podcast. Your insights and your wisdom and all the things that you shared on the podcast. It was really good stuff. It was really good stuff. I always end the podcast with any last tidbits of wisdom that you might want to give to any future educator that might be maybe stepping in your shoes, maybe taking on a project like the Breakfast Club somewhere else at a different school. What kind of would you have any advice for somebody that's
Yes,
wants to? Yeah,
it's hard, and I'm not gonna lie. And we'll never get paid what we're meant to get paid. But the work that we do is never quantified in dollars.
yeah,
The paychecks and the money always come 10, 15 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, when they tell you I'm here because of you. And if we take the opportunity to get to know our students for who they are, um, you're gonna be a lot more successful and really work when no one's watching. I get to my school at 6:30 in the morning every day. Um, I always tell people work when no one's watching, and I challenge our new teachers, everybody who chooses to get on this bus, this journey of education, and just embrace it because we all have an amazing opportunity to be someone great in someone's life.
yeah.
And if we know that and if we embrace that, I just think is this journey in education will be so much more fulfilling in so many ways. I mean, you might not see it in your bank account, but but you'll see it here and you'll feel
That's
it
right.
here. And I think that that's what's more important. My kids always like get on me because I take pictures, but in reality, yes, once we're past, once we leave this journey, all we're gonna have is memories. So why not make them good? Why not make them good memories?
That's
And
right.
and understand that we can make a difference in someone's life. So my advice to these people that these young educators or people that want to choose to pursue this, just embrace it and own it and just know that you have a beautiful gift that's been given to you to make a difference in someone's life. I think
Awesome.
that's it.
Awesome. Mr. Dominguez, I greatly appreciate again your time here on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to putting out this podcast sometime next week.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time and thank you for everything that you're doing. And you're inspiring a lot of us to continue to push forward.